Um, I was a classy, flashy fighter.
Yeah.
And the people that came to see the fight loved my performance. So I would give them their money's worth.
Hey everyone, welcome to My Final Play. I'm Brian. I'm here on location with former professional boxer Roland Two Guns Cooley. Roland, thanks for joining me today.
No problem.
Awesome. So we're going to get right into the sport of boxing,
Okay.
the art of boxing, if you will, and where it all started. So give us a little bit of a background as far as how you got started in the sport.
Well, in the sport, it was something that I always loved. My father used to be a boxer, and at the age of 14 in junior high school, I kept getting suspended for fighting. So one of the NTAs, that's a cop, kept breaking the fights up. So one day he was watching me fight, and they still suspended me. So when I came back to school, and my father brought me back to school, and the policeman and the principal told my father, you need to put him in the gym. He got a lot of talent that he's letting go to waste, fighting here in the streets for nothing. So my father took me to the gym, Joe Frazier's gym, first gym I ever been to, and my father started training me. And I did pretty good. As an amateur, I won 118 fights, lost 8, 4-time Golden Glove champion, National Golden Glove champion, National PAL champion, silver medal in Olympics, gold medal in the World Cup, silver medal in the Pan American Games. I love the sport, and I traveled all around the world. I beat the Cubans, the Germans, the Russians, and I just had a trip that was though like I was always living out a suitcase.
Yeah.
Because on the weekends, a lot of times I'm off to another city fighting, representing another team, and then fighting on the United States boxing team, and going to Colorado Spring Olympic Training Camp. It taught me a little bit more about my condition, and I just was in shape.
Yeah.
And I just fought whoever they put in front of me.
Yeah. So all of those accolades, and we'll kind of get into a little bit that a little bit later, but all of that started because of being in school and getting into a fight.
Yeah.
So that's actually really cool that of all people, the security guard is who actually kind of prompted everything to start. But also your dad had some experience as well.
Yes, my dad was a world-class fighter. He didn't have the time to train like he wanted to because he had to take care of his family. And then by him training me, that gave him the opportunity to live the dream that he wanted to live out for too, is to be a champion. Because if you train a champion, you're gonna feel like a champion too.
Right.
Because champions train champions, and that's what I tell my son.
Yeah.
Only way you're gonna be a champion, you gotta act like a champion, you gotta catch up like a champion, you gotta train like a champion. A champion do extra work. You don't do the normal just run, hit the bag, jump a little bit of rope. Guys normally do like 3-minute rounds on the bag. My father had me doing 5-minute rounds on the bag. They normally doing 3 to 4 rounds on the bag. He had me doing 6 to 8 rounds on the bag. Same thing with the speed bag. Jump rope. Guys are doing like 3-minute rounds with jumping rope. He had me jumping rope for a half hour to 45 minutes. Get up in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Go out and do the road work. Put in 4 or 5 miles in, come back home, take a shower, change my clothes, and go to school.
Man.
So
that conditioning just started from the first time that you stepped into the gym and never stopped.
Never stopped.
So a little bit about the accolades then. I know that you mentioned some of them earlier, but you started off as an amateur, and you ended up with 118 wins.
Yeah.
At what time from the amateur status, then what age were you when you went to pro status?
I was around in the 80 Olympics. I was 20.
Okay.
So after the Carter boycotted the Olympics that year, so we couldn't go. So I decided to turn pro because I wasn't hanging around no more 4 years for the other Olympics. It was time to make some money.
Yeah.
So I turned pro because I had already beat people like Hector Camacho, Boom Boom Mancini, Donald Curry, Milt McCoy, Jimmy Paul. All these guys had world title belts when I was up in the ranks
Yeah.
in line for a title shot. So, you know, I didn't have no fear there. It was just time for me to move on.
Yeah.
I wasn't, you know, fighting free no more. Now you got to pay me to see me perform.
Yeah. And it was well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as your final fight, can you get into some of the details on that then?
My final fight didn't last long. You know, I had other fights I had really lined up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I really didn't think about the last fight until you mentioned it to me. You know, it was I think I stopped him in the third round.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 12-rounder. It was my first 12-rounder. A boy from England named Davy Green. I stopped him in like the third round right there in London. You know, at his home. You know, and I knew I wouldn't be getting a decision there, a right decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I knew I had to stop him and get him out there early. You know, because I fight somebody that's in their hometown. I'm all the way overseas, and you know, a lot of times they already had their own judges.
Right.
You know, and they got their own referees. So I wasn't giving them time to do the pencil work.
Yeah.
I just got rid of them, and I was getting ready for my next move.
Yeah. So obviously there's some things that happened after that, but after that fight, you were actually moved up to number 3 in the world.
Yes.
So that would have given you the opportunity for a shot at the title.
Yeah, what happened was right after that fight, I had just signed a contract with Russell Peltz. Guaranteed $2 million per fight, 6 fights a year, guaranteed a title shot within a year. A contract with Sassoon to wear my clothing from Sassoon, $1.5 million, and a contract with Adidas to do all my boxer shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever color I wanted them, because I wore a lot of bright colors like pink and white,
Yeah.
purple and white, red and green. You know, every fight I had a different outfit with my name on it. You know, Roland 2-Gun Cooley.
Yeah.
And I was a flashy fighter.
Yeah.
You know, I was, you know, I could fight left-handed, right-handed. I could duck and dodge shots. I could stand in front of you. I could sit on the ropes and you wasn't hitting me. I was a classy, flashy fighter.
Yeah.
You know, and the people that came to see the fight loved my performance. So I would give them their money's worth as I'm whipping their ass.
Awesome. But then, you know, the tragedy happened.
I had my little brother got into a situation. As I went to his rescue, his aid, instead of me thinking, I gets out the car and I get shot, and they announced me dead like 3 or 4 times, and somehow God said, I'm not ready for you yet, and he let me live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I was hurt. I didn't want to really live no more. The boxing was my ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because all I kept telling was the newspapers, by this time next year I'll have me a mansion and a yacht, and I'll be able to park my BMW on my yacht.
Yeah.
And sail across the sea. You know, those was my goals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that dream had got shattered. So when that dream got shattered, I kept looking for help in the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
I started running the streets. I started slinging in the streets. You know, whatever went on in the streets, I was a part of. You know, I was trying to find an easy way out. I figured if I smoke enough, I'll kill myself and don't have to worry about nothing.
Mm.
But like I said, God wasn't ready for me. He had other plans for me.
Right.
So I did it for a while. It just, you know, then when I was with the young lady that I'm with now named Sandora, she was my girlfriend at the time, that's now my wife. Been my wife now for the last 24 years, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Got pregnant with my son, Roland. I said, I'm not going to let this little boy get no more clean time than me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be the father that's going to be there in every move that he makes. You know, so I didn't use no more. I started making meetings. I started getting to know who I am better,
Mm-hmm.
and start dealing with my situation. And a lot of times in December, I relived that whole situation over and over again. In December the 12th, I always lived that decision over and over again. If I would have had the time to do it, I would have did something different this time.
Yeah.
You know, and I just wish I could have did something different, but that wasn't the hand that I was dealt.
Mhm.
So the hand that I'm dealt, I can't complain right now.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I live in a nice house, fully furnished. Got a few cars. Still driving another Beamer, with my license plate saying 2 Gun on the back of it.
Yeah.
I'm well known in my community. A lot of parents bring their kids to me to talk to them
Yep.
when things is going on and they try to get them out the streets. They say, I'm going to go ahead and take you around Mr. Hollywood house and let him talk to you, and I'm a big help in the community.
Yeah. So, when you realized because of the accident that was going to be, or the previous fight was your final fight, what were some of the emotions that kind of caused that transition to go in the way that it did?
Well, when I think about my last fight, it's a hurt piece.
Yeah.
Because I was so sharp that night. I was so sharp I could have cut myself. And I knew that I was at my peak.
Mm-hmm.
I was right in my prime. I was right there in my prime. And Ring Magazine had me listed one time as to win 4 to 5 different titles in 4 or 5 different weight divisions.
Yeah.
I was the baddest featherweight that was out there. Couldn't nobody touch me. I was in shape. I was in condition. My father made sure of that. Joe Frazier made sure of that. They made sure I had whatever I needed. I used to have a hard time getting sparring partners.
Mm-hmm.
So they used to pay people to come spar with me and stuff like that. And we used to go to different gyms because nobody didn't want to come down Frazier's gym.
Yeah.
So we had to go to different gyms in the city to get boxing, to get me prepared for the fights. And I always had to box guys weighing 147, 154,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm only weighing 126 pounds.
Right.
So I could be prepared when I go into the fight. It's just that, the 126 pounds is not going to bother me.
Mm-hmm.
If I could deal with the guys weighing 54 and 47.
Right.
Junior middleweights and welterweights, So, I miss it, and it hurts sometimes. But, I take it and I look at it. That's a part of life.
Right.
This the life that God has dealt me, this hand. This the hand that he want me to have, so I deals with it. So what I do, I just invest into my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I invest into my grandkids. They playing ball. They playing ball all year round, over at Cherry Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go support them and be there for them. And when they ready to box, I'm going to be there to show them how to do it.
Right. Champions build champions, right?
Champions build champions.
And then in addition to the, that transition period, you were also giving back and putting time in training and everything else as well, correct?
Yeah, I was training other fighters.
Yeah.
I trained, Star. I had 4 guys that I trained personally.
Yeah.
All 4 of them won Golden Gloves 2 times, 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Then they was turning pro because they was getting ready for the '84 Olympics, and they was turning pro, and they turned pro and they was doing all right. And then I just was getting more angry at myself.
Yeah.
For letting myself go in position to get hurt. And I just stopped training. I just let my dad train them because I just wasn't. My mind wasn't set for the training the right way no more.
Right.
I was in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
so I was hanging in the streets. I wasn't coming to the gym. I was just trying to get that money that I felt as though I deserved, and I let it go.
Yeah. And thankfully you were able to move out of that situation, come back to the Williamsport area. But then you're also training your son then with wrestling, and he, like you said, champions train champions. The only graduate of Williamsport High School to be able to earn a scholarship in wrestling.
Yes.
And that's definitely a great feat as well. So
Yeah. The way I trained him was the only thing I do is help him with his condition.
yeah.
All that flipping and holding and put them in all kind of positions, I couldn't do that. So what I did to contribute to that was I wake him up 5 o'clock in the morning. Gotta get your road work done.
Yeah.
He go ahead and get dressed, do his road work, come back, take a shower, and go to school. And I go ahead to work. You know, with his condition, it just made him more vulnerable to do the things he had to do, and to take care of business he had to take care of.
Yeah.
Vulnerable to do the things he had to do, and to take care of business he had to take care of.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You know. So he wound up, he the first guy in Williamsport that when he went to states, he the first guy that placed in states in 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, he done traveled around the world, not around the world, he traveled around the country. You know, and he done went to a lot of different tournaments in a lot of different states, and they always know who he was when he left.
Yep. And it's awesome that you were able to be there and do that with him. So, you know, if you could give yourself, if you could go back in time to a 15-year-old you, if you could give yourself one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice look like?
That piece of advice would be, I don't know, I just know whatever I get myself into as far as trying to be a better person, give it all I got, 110%.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only way I'll be able to make things. Everything that, even the things that I do today, I give 110%, because if I don't give it 110%, I'm cheating myself.
Right.
I won't know what I can really do.
Yeah.
If I don't give it 110%, I got to give life 110%, because by me being shot the way I got shot, I ain't supposed to be here. God gave me another chance.
Right.
You know, when I supposed to went on that trip to Poland with the United States boxing team, and me and my father had an argument because he wanted me to win the Golden Gloves 4 years in a row, which nobody never did yet. I'm the only one who still got that record. When that plane crashed the next day and I didn't go, and my father came home from work, he hugged me, kissed me, and told me he loved me and he glad I ain't go. And I kissed him and hugged him and told him Dad, I'm glad I listened to you.
Yeah.
I didn't go. You know, so, you know, it's twice that God spared me. And I appreciate it, and I show my appreciation by helping other people in any way possible.
Absolutely. So, and then one last question would be, the sport of boxing altogether, what would you say would be the number one thing that it has taught you throughout your lifetime?
What it have taught me out of my lifetime, what the sport taught me out of my lifetime is discipline. It taught me how to be make right decisions. How to think about other people than just myself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I do.
Discipline.
Discipline. If you ain't got no discipline, you ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
I'm disciplined on how I spend money. I'm disciplined on how I carry myself. I'm disciplined on how I treat my family. You know, discipline is the number one key. You gotta have some discipline if you want to make it in this world.
Absolutely. And champions breed champions.
Champions breed champions.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the content and the story that Roland was able to share. If you did, please like and subscribe below. And remember, whatever it is that you do today, take it with the mindset of, is this my final play? Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Awesome.